Hi, I'm Suzanne Castle, and this is the Thought Leader Thursday. I'm here today introducing you to another incredible leader, thinker, doer, and all-around amazing human who's going to help each of us think about our world a little bit differently than anyone else. From artists to teachers, from actors to moms, from the big names to the you didn't know about them till now names, my hope is that you will connect with a leader who helps you light up in your corner of this galaxy. This is the Thought Leader Thursday show. Hi everyone, I'm Suzanne Castle. I'm so glad that you're here for this Thought Leader Thursday. We have a social media expert in the house all the way from another country, Canada. And you're going to meet her in just a few minutes. But as we start to think about social media, what it's done for us, what it hasn't done for us, Garrett, I have a question for you. Garrett, awesome producer, making me look good and sound good, making this show rock and roll. I'd love to hear about a social media snafu that you've had along the way.
Okay, a snafu I've had. One time, I think it was high school maybe, I saw a post on some page that I thought related to a inside joke I had with a friend. And so I shared it. And then I showed it to my dad, and he was like, "Oh no, that's a double meaning there." Something about heads and tails on a coin toss, and yeah, so I just completely didn't notice it. Posted it to my friend who was a girl, and so then I had to quickly go in and be like, delete, and since then I've kind of refrained from posting things that aren't just business professional, I guess.
Well, that's probably pretty smart. Those double entendre things, they'll get you in trouble all day long, you know.
Yeah, it was, I learned a bit that day.
Yeah. Well, social media helps us learn things often, sometimes good and sometimes not so good. And that's why I'm so excited today to welcome the Chief Fun Officer. That's her title. Is it not the best title in the world? Chief Fun Officer, the social media minder, the badass marketing guru that is Sherry Lee Wojcik. And I can't wait for you to hear a little bit more about her. So Sherry Lee is the founder of this wonderful, wonderful resource called the Facebook Profit Formula. And she loves teaching entrepreneurs all over the place about how to use Facebook to grow and engage their communities, to develop more relationships, and honestly make money. Who doesn't want to be making money so that they can have the businesses that they dream of and the life of their dreams? She's also a contributing author to the Amazon best-selling book called Rock Your Business. She was on there with Kristen Thompson, 9 other amazing entrepreneurs and authors. She's also a single mom like yours truly. She has 2 young adults in her family, and she's created her business in the aftermath of her marriage ending, not only to support herself and her kids, but also to empower women all over the world to take control of their businesses, of their financial situations, and their lives. And I gotta tell you, the way that she has unlocked social media for me and helped me to understand the power of Facebook has been extraordinary. So I can't wait for you to meet the awesome, the wonderful Sherry Lee. Welcome to the program. I'm so glad that you're here. How are you today?
Wow. Thank you, Suzanne. I am thrilled to be here. I am always happy to get a chance to chat with you. And today I'm having fun, just like I try to always have fun.
I love that so much. You know, I was thinking before the show about when I met you. And I met you a couple of years ago. You were on the stage at an event. I was on the stage later in that event, and you came up there and you started talking about Facebook and the power of Facebook groups and how to think differently about your content marketing. And never ever, because I was new in the social media space from a business perspective, had thought about how you get people to look at your posts. And what you were sharing on the stage was so different than anything that I had heard. I was immediately just enraptured by you. I ran to your booth as soon as you were done. I grabbed your gimme that you had that day, and I still use it, and I meant to bring it with me so I could show I still have that original content marketing plan that you gave us that day. And it was so great because what I learned in that moment is you really show up differently than anybody else that I'm seeing when people are talking about Facebook and how to market their business. So I'd love to know what made you start in that realm of using Facebook to kind of market your business.
That's a great question. I will give you the Cliff's Notes version. But really, I call myself an accidental entrepreneur. I never thought about being an entrepreneur. I kind of thought it was that thing that was like mythical creatures were entrepreneurs. I never knew anybody who was an entrepreneur. I never thought I could be that. And I started my business, as I said in the bio, my marriage ended and I needed to find some way to support my family when my ex walked away. And I had been playing on social media and I'd been, had a small business that I'd been running before. And when I asked myself, what am I going to do that's going to allow me to keep my kids at home and homeschool them the way I had always intended to, allow me to work from home and allow me to make money, social media came about. And in fact, I had done a women's show one weekend with my previous business. It was a small little home business that I made before subscription boxes were big. I had a subscription box for kids.
Wow.
And I went to this women's trade show. There was going to be 50,000 women there. And I thought, this is the great way to launch this business. It was basically every month the kids would get subscription cards with some educational information and activity that went along with it, and they could collect it. I loved this thing. I thought this thing was awesome. So I went thinking I was going to meet 50,000 women. Well, I paid a fortune for the tiniest little booth. I was gone for 4 days from 7 a.m. until midnight. I didn't see my kids, which wasn't really how I wanted to spend my time. And I discovered that these women were not there to buy things for their family. They were there to drink martinis and see the firemen in the firemen's show. And I ended up with about 3 subscribers that whole weekend. And I left extremely disheartened by that. But that same weekend, I had paid $100 to be in an online parenting magazine, and it was exclusively online. And it took me a while to understand that there was no print version of this thing, that it was just online and people got it in their emails and they went to a website. This was back in 2007. So this was wacky stuff to me. And I spent $100. I put a little thing in there. And over the weekend, while I was killing myself at the trade show, I made a dozen sales from that one ad. And on the Monday, when I was, exhausted and sitting on the couch with the kids running around, I went, well, there's something here. There's got to be something else here that will allow me to not have to leave the kids all the time to try and make some money. And so that's really how it started. I did that for a year and a half. And then I realized there wasn't going to be enough money in it to support my family when I saw my marriage imploding. And I realized that I had taught myself a skill that other people needed, was how to use social media and Facebook specifically to help them promote their business. So I started offering that as a service. And I just kind of stumbled into it. And it just evolves every day, because what I started out doing, which was live in-person workshops twice a month for business owners with brick and mortar stores, to what I'm doing today, they look completely different. And it's just always changing and evolving as I grow and as the platforms grow.
And I love the way that you said that, because one of the things that I've struggled with in my own business, when I was, booked completely on referrals and didn't have to market myself anywhere. Like I didn't need to be worrying about that, because there was always somebody in the room who wanted me for something. And then suddenly things were shifting and changing in the social media market space. And I had to suddenly figure out how to show up. And I was an early adopter of Facebook. I mean, I think I was like month 2 of Facebook launching. I had,
wow.
I remember Flare and the whole bit. And, but I had never thought about how to use it as a platform in which to grow my business. And I remember that we were talking about how to grow a group. And I took one of your courses that talked about how to structure a group on Facebook and make it meaningful for them, but also allow people to be attracted towards you. And I mean, from that, everything I have done has grown. I mean, I think I had messaged you early on. I went from 0 in that group to like 60 in 24 hours using the techniques that you teach. And for me, that was just astounding. I know it's not a huge number. Like Sherry Lee has like 47,000 people that like things that she does. I was happy with 60, but it was truly and utterly astounding. And I have you to thank for that. And so it's curious to me, because a lot of people, including yours truly here, hate on Facebook a lot. I log in, my platform looks different. I don't know where anything is. What I used to could post, I couldn't. Now I can't do GIFs in one platform, but I can do it in another. And I know that the algorithm has shifted and changed, and the engagement has really plummeted in probably the last 6 or 8 months. And I know you talk a lot about that, but there's a lot of hate on Facebook, but you love Facebook. So would you talk to us about why you love Facebook and how it's helping you still grow your business?
Oh yeah, I don't know if I love Facebook. I make no bones out of it. I love Facebook. And I think a lot of the things that people find frustrating are the things that I enjoy. And one of the things I like about it is I haven't gotten bored on it yet. And so apparently I have a very short attention span and I get bored very easily. And, when I look back at my employment history, I didn't hold a job for longer than 2 years. And mostly the struggles came because I got bored. It was the same thing over and over and over and over. Well, I never get bored on Facebook. But I'm also really okay with when things don't work. Last night, like around 10 o'clock, my VA messaged me and said, I can't schedule anything into any of the groups. They keep getting removed and I'm not allowed to do it. And now I can't do the action. And she was freaking out because she couldn't do the thing that she needed to do to support me. And I went, okay. And there's another way. And so I just went and did the other way and gave her permission in another way. And then she went, wow, that worked. I can't believe you didn't freak out. And no, I didn't. And Facebook has got a lot of pieces to it. It's got a lot of moving parts. And I think one of the things is we try to do all those moving parts and we aren't necessarily positioned to be doing all of them yet. We shouldn't necessarily try to do them all. We should do the things that are going to be the most impactful and get us the best results right away. So just like I say, focus on one platform and then add in other platforms when that one is working. Yep. If you can only manage one thing, focus on your business page and grow your business page. I heard somebody last week, a really big Facebook marketing person, say, well, organic reach is only 5% right now. And that got me thinking about that and about, why is it like that? And what could we do about that? Because it's always like a puzzle for me. Right. So that's one of the things I love about it. It's a puzzle. It's a game to me. I just make it a big game. What can I do to outsmart what they're doing? And I listened to her talk about the 5%, and I went and I started looking at some of the stats. Well, I looked at my page for last week, and yes, I have 46,000 people liking my page. And last week, organically, no ads running. I didn't even do a Facebook Live, so shame on me. My organic reach was 87,000 people. Yes, sorry, 78,000 people. I reversed that. 78,000 people.
Everybody heard organic that right? 78,000 people.
On a page where only 46,000 people like it. So that's no 5%. I think that's like 1.75%, something like that. I'm not a mathematician. So, but it doesn't have to be that way just because that's what we're saying, right? Exactly. A lot of people run around and say, oh, the sky is falling, and people believe that. And I look at all of those things and go, what's the opportunity here? Yep. What could we do different than what other people are doing? How can we change this up? And I think about what does Facebook want from me, which most people don't think about. Right. And I think about what do my prospects want from me? And I think a lot of people go on Facebook and they think about themselves because I'm here to market my business, but we can't be that overt on Facebook.
Well, and I think that's some of your genius. I mean, there's lots of areas of genius that you bring to this Facebook marketing space. But I got to tell you, I got a little miffed at you in one of your trainings when you said it's not about you, Suzanne. And I was like, well, it's always about me. I don't know what your problem is, Shirley. It's always about me. But when I stepped back and was like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, I am vomiting out everything that's on my food plate or that I shopped for or my cute dogs or my. And when I took a step back and was like, okay, but the people that are following me, what do they want? What do they need? And when I went and did, you had us do this formula that kind of tracked what was getting what engagement and when, not just time, but what kind of posts were getting those things. And then you asked us, like, just let it go and trust me and post these things for this amount of days and see what happens. And every single one of those was just off the chart amazing. And it occurred to me then, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think there's a lot of that on Facebook. And so when I find someone like you that has figured out that kind of magic secret sauce, and it really is different than what anybody else is teaching out there. So I just have to give you kudos because you've stayed in it, you've made it fun, and you've made it accessible to people like me that have no marketing background whatsoever and don't know what I'm doing. So I wanted to thank you for that because you make it so easy to follow.
Thank you for that. But I think you're right. That's one of the things that people struggle with is they want it to be, and I'm a very linear person, but Facebook's not very linear. And we think of our business page as like our storefront. So I should be talking about what I have for sale in my store, right? When people come to my store, I'm not going to tell them to go to the store 3 doors down. But the thing that we have to flip is we have to realize how busy this platform is. The thing that really blows me away is that every minute of the day, the like button is pushed over 4 million times.
That's just mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing.
So think about how much content that means people are seeing, right? If you spend any time in the newsfeed, and I'll tell you, I'm happy to tell you, my newsfeed is actually gone right now.
I love
But
that.
a half an hour ago, I got a broken wrench thing where my newsfeed should be, and I went, okay, let's do something else. I can still get to my groups. I can still get to my page.
Right.
That's what matters to me. But, we think we need to be constantly telling people about us, but they're being inundated with content and other people telling them that. So when they see somebody in the newsfeed who genuinely is interested in them, boy, do you stand out.
Right.
In ways that you can't even imagine. And it's not about the immediate sale. I've got to post this thing so that in an hour I have a sale coming through. It's about planting seeds for the future and for sustainability in your business. And relationships are where that's from.
Well, and I got to say, I think if anything has taught us that, it's this last year. Like the dumpster fire that was for so many of us in business, this last COVID muckety muck, it's that the people that showed up in relationship and service have not had such disastrous effects as those that were just like the salesy Susies all the time out there, like bye, showing up. And you taught me that. You taught me be in relationship first. And now people are coming back and going, thank you so much for this or for that, or for helping me laugh. You were just silly. Or, I think about like the Jennifer Garners of the world, and her social media platform's hilarious because she's always posting stuff where she doesn't look just perfect. She's in her bathrobe. She falls down. Like she's just being real. And I think people are craving that in this space, and you do such a good job of teaching that to people. So today, I will say I wore my I have a plethora of things that represent the Star Wars universe because it's May the 4th be with you day. I know Facebook and YouTube and all the people and IGTV people, you're seeing this on not May the 4th, but it's May the 4th when we're recording. And so I told Sherry Lee that I was going to represent Star Wars, and she was so great because I love representing the weirdness that I am, the nerd that I am, and I'm always trying to represent my nerdy side instead of my entertainment performance side on social media because of what she's taught. And she said, well, I'm not really a Star Wars fan. And for a brief moment, I almost was like, well, then we have to reschedule because I can't have you in the same space as me. I don't want that negative Darth Vader energy around me today. But then she redeemed herself and said, but I am a Trekkie. So I'd love to know, what about the Trekkie universe do you adore?
Oh, so many things. And first, you know what? First, I'm going to say, in the world of the Star Trek fans, the term Trekkie is not considered to be a compliment.
That's correct.
Trekkies are people who live in the basement of their parents' home who are adults. So I am a Trekker, first off, not a Trekkie. Thank you.
Love it.
You know what? I think my love of Star Trek originally came from as a child. Sundays we'd go to church, we'd have lunch, and then my dad and I would go downstairs, and it was a day that he pretty much always had off, and him and I would spend Sunday afternoon downstairs in the basement, and we would watch the Star Trek. We never missed the Star Trek, and it was, of course, the old original Kirk episodes. And that's where my love of it started, was sharing it with my dad. And when they started making movies, my dad never went to the movies, except he went to every Star Trek movie that he could with me in the movie theaters. And it was a connection that my dad and I had. And that's where my love of Star Trek came from. And now he's been gone for a long time. But, every time I watch a Star Trek movie or something new comes out, I immediately think, how would dad react? Yeah. Or I can hear him, chuckling to something or, laughing. And we just enjoyed that time together. And I think, I don't know if I stumbled upon Star Trek on my own, if I would have loved it as much, but my love came from it as a shared experience with my dad. And I don't think it'll ever go away.
Well, and how interesting.
And every season, every episode I've watched.
But that planted a seed for you. I don't know if you've even realized you've done the thread here about developing relationship around someone else's wants, needs, and desires and how it changes you too. And you're still teaching that. And I know that Facebook has really changed your life. It's changed your business. I would have never met you without like Facebook changing your life and your business. Tell me how that's happened for you.
Oh, I think about this almost every day. I mean, how would I meet half of the people that I know if it wasn't for Star Trek? If it wasn't for Star Trek,
that
if
works.
it wasn't for Facebook, how would I know half the people that I know? I mean, I just had somebody, sign up for one of my programs from the UK, and I've got a couple people coming from New Zealand. Would I even know them? Would they even know me otherwise? But you know how they found me? They found me on Facebook. And out of all the people who talk on Facebook about knowing Facebook, they chose me because of how I approached Facebook and how I made them feel in the experience. And, I wanted to say something. You said that about the relationship thing and how I inspired you with that. But I think you're a master at that, because you told me some stories of things that you pivoted in 2020 where I went like, that is just such an example of coming from a place of service. And, I looked at that and I thought, what a star you were for some of those adjustments that you made, because you could have easily just sat there and gone, poor me. But instead you reached out to people. And what makes you so similar to a lot of other people is a lot of us have that heart. The difference is on Facebook, we're just doing it on this platform.
Right. That's right.
It's how we're doing it. Like, take the skills that we have in life and apply them on the platform. And if you don't let the platform get in the way, you can still have the same kind of impact.
That's right. That's right. So I close every show asking about a definition of my favorite word. But before we do that, I know, because you are always about service and you love to give, and I will just say you've shown up for me. I'll probably get weepy. I need to stop saying that, in ways this last year that I cannot even imagine. And so thank you for that. But I know that you've got some goodies for anybody that's tuning in. If you want to check things out, if you need to up-level your Facebook game or are wondering the way to show up, would you tell us a little bit more about those? And we're going to drop some links in below. Tell us more.
So it's the 30-day content plan, which is what you got from me at the event that we were together at. This plan, I've given this out to as many people who would like it, and it will walk you through for 30 days what to post on your Facebook page so that the algorithm is irrelevant, so that you're showing up in people's news feeds, so that Facebook's playing nice with you, and you get to reach as many people as you want to reach, because you don't have to let this platform hold you back or the algorithm hold you back. So it tells you day by day what to post. In some cases, I even tell you what the thing is. Like, I don't say, go ask a question. I say, ask this question, because I want you to see the switch that needs to be made from the kind of questions you may be asking to the kind of questions that are going to get you more engagement. So it walks you through for 30 days, and then it's a repeatable roadmap that you can just keep using. And we use that same system on my page, and that's why I had the reach that I had last week on my page, is because of this 30-day roadmap that I'm going to give you.
It's truly stunning, and honestly, it is an incredible gift, and I want to thank you for making that available to everybody who's checking out the Thought Leader Thursday, either now or whenever they're seeing it. And thank you so much. But before I let you go, you knew I was going to ask the question, what does it mean in your world? What does it mean to sparkle?
And I mentioned this to you beforehand. That really kind of stuck me. And my first thought was, how can I get her to not ask that question? And then I realized that probably wasn't going to work, and that probably wouldn't do me any service either. But I don't really have a good answer for you, because I've never thought about that before. And yet it's a great question. And so I don't really have an answer for you. What I know is I'm going to ask it a lot so I can figure out the answer. And I know it has something to do with being the most me that I can be.
Well, I think to sparkle, to be the most you that is ever you, that could ever be you, is a wonderful definition. So I want to thank you, Sherry Lee, for showing up today and for making time for me, for this audience, and all the ways that you serve in the community. Thank you. from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate you being here, and thank you for all that you're doing for Facebook. Now, before all of you hop off, I do want to tell you how excited I am for the next time that we tune into Thought Leader Thursday, because we're also going to feature a virtual guest, and she's coming from another coast, and she is a brilliant branding superstar who right now, as we speak, is at an award show getting a huge award for the way that she has shown up, and her name is Nikki Bradley, so I can't wait for you to tune in. I'm Suzanne Castle. I'll see you on the next Thought Leader Thursday.